Man, when will the GTA YouTubers learn their lesson? Apparently never. Because they always freaking come up with some crazy conspiracy about when the freaking next trailer for GTA 6 comes out. And then it doesn't happen. So, I don't know. Anyway. Oh, this is Mr. Hornsby 83. This is the Mr. Hornsby 83 show. And today, I'm going to re-review X-Men 97 Season 1. Because my opinions have changed on some things in the freaking story for X-Men 97 Season 1. I'm also going to talk about my disappointment with the freaking Marvel Upfront thing last night or yesterday or whenever it freaking happened. I was pretty upset about that because, you know, they talk about all these freaking TV shows and that on there. They did announce American Horror Story Season 13. They did let people know when that stupid Vision Quest is coming. But they did not give us a trailer or a release date for X-Men 97 Season 2. As far as the freaking GTA trailer thing, I know I talked about it Monday in the video. If you guys go back and watch it after you watch this video, I talked about it. I said, look, if it does happen, which I believe I said I highly doubt, but if it does, I'll do a short on it. I'll freaking talk more about it on my playthrough of GTA Vice City. So, you know, it didn't happen. And I didn't watch any of these videos where these morons talked about, oh, they were so determined that GTA 6 trailer was coming out yesterday. Now, look, I get it. You know, I kind of thought maybe it would, and that's why I talked about it Monday. I thought maybe it would because of the fact that, you know, we're getting closer and closer to, like, the 6-month range. Like, the 19th of this month will be 6 months range for GTA 6 to come out. Or, yeah, 6 months. So, the 19th. So, yeah. Well, I'm like, well, maybe they'll do a trailer. But, you know what? I didn't get my hopes up at high and mighty. Like, oh, they're going to do a trailer. Oh, they're going to do a trailer. I didn't expect them to do a trailer. You know, because some of these GTA YouTubers got mad at some freaking, Game Informer cover reveal because they thought it was going to be GTA 6. I'm like, heck. You know, the only thing that irritated me about that freaking thing is they say now read the physical copy. They're like, you know, go read this newest issue of Game Informer. How when you don't sell physical copies no more? And I ain't getting on no digital copy crap to read a freaking book on digital. So, yeah. The only thing that irritated me about that was that, oh, read it now, but you don't sell physical copies of the freaking book anymore. So yeah, anyway, after talking about all that, which was a long-winded opening, let's talk about X-Men 97 Season 1, the review. Now look, some of my opinions have changed about some of the episodes and all that stuff. Some of my opinions have changed about certain storylines they wasted too much time on in the freaking show instead of freaking actually focusing on other storylines and sidelighting other characters. And I'm also going to talk about how they kind of ruined Rogue in Season 1 of X-Men 97. So, yeah. Anyway, so let's get into it. First off, I still think the first 3 episodes are really good. First 3 episodes were really good. Yeah, it was a bit, you know, I felt like they went too fast against the Sentinels. And, you know, they just beat Master Mold like that when back in the old show. They had to put up quite a battle against Master Mold to kill him. I mean, they blew him up at the end of Season 1. Then he comes back in Season, 4, before they did the Beyond Good and Evil arc. And it took Morph blasting a freaking big old piece of a cave into the head of Master Mold to defeat him. But they just, you know, pretty much just discounted him that quick with the way they beat him. Now, yeah, I know Wolverine's claws got supercharged by Gambit. And, you know, that's how they killed him. But outside of that, you know, outside of how much they rushed through things and they didn't explain why Bishop was in the present, which I talked about on my video freaking Monday, so I'm not going to get into all the reasons why he could have been there again. So, Anyway, you want to hear all about Bishop? Go watch that video after you watch this one. One thing my opinion has not changed on is Motendo. I still don't like that episode. I don't like any Mojo episode. I didn't like the frickin' 2 episodes they had in the original cartoon. I didn't like the couple of episodes they had him in and Wolverine and the X-Men. And, usually most of the frickin' time, I'll say the first episode is tolerable because it's kind of a, in between, it's kind of a funny moment. In between, some battle they had in the episode before, and then the big battle they have with Sinister at the end of season 2. But, I don't know, I just don't like the Mojo episodes. I don't like the character Mojo, period. I mean, he's not one of my favorite X-Men villains out there. Like Mr. Sinister, like Magneto, like Mystique, like the Juggernaut, like Sabretooth, and of course Omega Red. I like Omega Red. I had the Omega Red figure when I was a kid. But, yeah, I like Omega Red. But, I don't know, I just, oh yeah, and Apocalypse, of course. But, I think everybody loves Apocalypse. Yeah. Maybe everybody loves some of the other characters I mentioned too. Magneto's not high on my tier of all-time favorite villains for X-Men because I got sick of seeing Magneto in the three movies that came out in the early 2000s. I was like, oh god, another one with Magneto as the villain. Why couldn't we get Apocalypse? Why couldn't we get Sinister? Why couldn't we get freaking Sebastian Shaw or something like that? We're getting freaking Magneto for a third frickin' time. No, I know. Jean was also the villain in Last Stand, but I mean, come on now. And they kind of have William Stryker, which one of the reasons why I don't care too much for X-Men 2, because it's like, I don't care about William Stryker. But they could have used these movies to frickin' focus, especially if they're going to focus on Wolverine. They could have used these movies to put other villains in, like Sinister or Apocalypse, or, Juggernaut was in Last Stand, big whoop. Sabretooth went missing after the first frickin' X-Men movie. Until they had him in the frickin' X-Men Origins Wolverine when they had Liv Schreiber play him, which I thought he did alright, but I also liked frickin' Tyler Mane too. Yeah, is he great at talking? No. But, and I think Liv Schreiber had him beaten, especially when he was smack talking everybody he was going up against, like with frickin', when he's fighting Wolverine, he's smack talking him. When he's fighting frickin', one dude that was from the Black Eyed Peas, can't think of his name. When he's frickin' fighting that one dude that lights up everything, and then he just frickin' gets scared when frickin' Sabretooth shows. He's like, oh, yeah, your black coat don't scare me. He's like, really? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. I can see why people liked his performance in that movie a lot better than frickin' Tyler Mane, but come on now. And that's the thing, too. Something I hated, though, with Sabretooth in the frickin' first X-Men movie was the look. And then it pretty much became the look after that for a while, because in X-Men Evolution, that was his look. Wolverine and the X-Men, that was his look. Good thing they're not freaking having him with that look with the X-Men animated series. Because, oh boy, would that suck. So, yeah, I still like the Life Death part of the Motendo frickin' thing, but I think what they should have did is just focus on Life Death and just waited for another time to have frickin' Mojo in it. Especially what they did with episode 6 with Life Death 2, where it was panning from Storm and Forge to frickin' Professor X and frickin' Lilandra. Not Lilylandra. Lilandra. But, I feel like episode 6 should have been focused on Professor returning. But, I don't know. I think they brought Xavier back too much anyway, but I think they brought him back way too early anyway. I felt like it was too early. They should have let it pan out with see how, the X-Men would handle it without Xavier and all that stuff. how would Cyclops and that have handled it and all that, stuff like that. I think would have really made more sense, to let them handle it. But Magneto goes heel. You gotta have the big baby face return, even though he didn't return until the end of episode 9, which was like almost freaking 3.5 episodes after he said he was going back to Earth. So I don't know. Well, then again, Storm didn't show up, and she was featured in that episode. She didn't even show up until freaking episode 8. Or no, episode 9, yeah, because episode 8 was the first Tolerance is Extinction. So I think they, I don't know. I just don't like the Motendo episode in that. Episode 5 still the best episode. Even on rewatch, I'm like, God, it's it's still the best episode. It's still freaking. You still just feel that pain of seeing Gambit die, especially when you watch the old animated series to see how important he was to that one. Because when I watched it a couple weeks ago and I finished it off, I had watched the original animated series. I watched 97 next to it, and it's just like, man, is that just an emotional touch? With Gambit dying and not even knowing that Rogue actually chose him over Magneto. But I'll talk more about that when I get to why I think they ruined Rogue. So yeah, I mean, episodes last still the best. I think episode 6 got way too much heat when it came out because episode 6 got a lot of hate from people. People's like, oh, that one was boring, it was lame. The weakest episode of this season. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't like Motendo too much. And I did like Life Death Part 1. So, I don't know. I feel like, people just, I think the one that was harshest on it, what was it, Grace Randolph? Especially bashing my favorite villain, Mr. Sinister. I kind of got mad at that video. I'm like, yeah. Screw Grace Randolph. She don't know what she's talking about. But, yeah, I mean, I still watch her, but golly, that episode, that one where she did the review of episode 6, she talked about how Sinister's such a lame villain. Oh, yeah, whatever. He's not lamer than Mojo. Or Arcade. Or any other lame villain that they've had in the frickin' X-Men show. Yeah. Or movies or whatever. There's some lame villains in the frickin' movies that were kind of lame. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I thought episode 6, I think I was one of the few that actually gave the episode praise. I think Geekdom also talked about it in his World of Geekdom podcast, how he didn't like that episode either. But yeah, whatever, Geekdom. Shut up and stick with Dragon Ball Z. No. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just talking about what I was thinking at the time. Because I like Geekdom, and I say he's one of the most reputable freaking people on the Dragon Ball YouTube community. So yeah. But I don't know what was he doing. But yeah, I thought episode 6 was pretty good. Episode 7 I really like as well. I like, the return. Cable. I like that they played his theme song for a small minute and they had it real low toned. I'm like, come on now. We want the Cable theme song, man. That was the whole best thing about Cable in the frickin' X-Men animated series. I mean, just like the frickin' redneck theme song that they had for Bishop, which I should have talked about in my video on frickin' Monday. It was like the redneck theme song they had for Bishop in the frickin' original cartoon. I do like the new theme song they came up with for Storm in the frickin' N97, but they don't have to play, when they played it when she frickin' finally defeated the, what the fuck was that thing called again? The little owl thing. I'm trying to think of what it was called. I don't know. When she defeated that thing, you know, they played the theme song. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I got excited because, you know, it's like, yeah, Storm's coming back. And, yeah, and I think, yeah, if they would have did the thing where, like, the Motendo episode mixed with Life Death, then, like, they would have did, like, the whole Life Death. I think it would have been too soon to bring Storm back. Like, oh, she only lost her power for, what, 2 episodes, then she got him back. Technically, she didn't have her powers for 3 episodes, but still. But yeah, I think, you know, they really should have gave us Cable's theme song and Bishop's theme song. Especially with the fact that, you know, it's funny because the guy who plays Bishop now, he sounds like a freaking redneck. I've seen what he looks like. I know he's black, but God, does he sound like a freaking white redneck. I mean, he seriously does. When I first heard him freaking talking, like, when you hear Bishop in the old show, he's got that commanding freaking deep, you know, voice that, you know, that this guy don't have. He just sounded like a fucking, like, is a white dude playing Bishop now? That's what I thought. I'm like, is a white guy playing Bishop now? Apparently not. But, yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe I should have talked about that too with the freaking the Bishop video the other day. But, yeah. But, yeah, I still like a lot of the episodes. I think, you know, all the episodes, you know, like I said, with, you know, my opinion on the first episode, kind of, you know, it does set up the big story arc throughout the end of the throughout the end of the season. But, you know, it's like it took them forever to get back to that because you had to do the Life Death thing. And that was one of my biggest issues with the show initially. I'm like, golly, they're just doing all this other stuff. It's like, golly, there's, you know, they didn't even reveal the main villain until like episode 7. Now, you did see the main villain in episode 5, a brief glimpse of him. You did see him in pictures with frickin' Forge, but they didn't reveal him until episode 7. It's like, wait a minute, what? No. Because they mainly had Sinister doing it. And isn't Sinister usually a guy that's like in the shadows or whatever? So, I don't know. But usually he sends other people to do his dirty work for him. Now he's doing dirty work for this guy. You know. By the way, you know, I'll talk about that in a minute. Why was frickin', I know he wanted his prize, which is prize, shocker, was Cable. But anyway, you know, I don't know, the fact that they didn't reveal the main villain until frickin' episode 7, I don't think they had any idea who the villain was going to be at first. Because, you know, yeah, they went with Sinister a little bit, but you knew he wasn't really the top guy. And why would Sinister attack frickin' Genosha, especially when some of his nasty boys were on Genosha? But then again, Sinister is a snake, so yeah. But anyway, that's besides the point. But I knew someone was pulling the strings with Sinister, so yeah, and it turned out to be Bastion. And I'm thinking, why would he work with humans? I mean, Sinister, I don't know. I didn't get why he worked with humans. I mean, yeah, I know he was still kind of human, even though he turned himself into a mutant, or Apocalypse turned him into a mutant. But, I don't know. But, I don't know, the fact that, you know, it felt like they went through so many things so fastly was just crazy. Like, the freaking, like, the first episode, that could have been a 2-parter. Episode 3 could have been a 2-parter. Episode 4 could have been a 2-parter. But they only had 10 episodes. Like, back in the day, you could do 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 episodes per season. Now it's down to 10 because of people's attention spans and all that stuff too. But, you know, I just feel like so many things got rushed through. You know. And the fact that they waited till episode 7 to reveal the main villain was just crazy to me. You know, it was just crazy. Now, yeah, Sinister was around and he was doing all that stuff, but yeah, I don't know. It's still crazy. So now let's get to some things I've changed my opinion on. First of all, boy. Let's talk about this Magneto Rogue love triangle with freaking Gambit. I just didn't like it. I didn't care for it. I felt like it dragged the show down some when they focused too much on the Magneto and Rogue storyline. And, it also takes away from how Rogue, kind of adapted to not being able to touch people by the end of the freaking original show. Even there was a point where, Xavier's like, Rogue unable to touch. But if you look around, you'll find you've touched us all in some way. I don't know, man. It just really ruined a lot of Rogue's arc. I mean, because, her arc starts with the Cure episode. Then it goes to a Rogue's Tale. Then it's the episode with her and Cody. And then, she realized she's just going to have to go without being able to touch people. Intimately touch them, sexually in that. I guess that's what they were wanting it to be. But with Magneto, she was able to touch him and be intimate with him, and, I don't know. But I don't know, it's just crazy. I feel like they spent way too much time on that freaking storyline. I mean, yeah, you can talk about it a couple episodes and then not focus on it, but yeah, that was one of the main focuses of the story. And I know probably Bo DeMayo, because I guess he was a big fan of Age of Apocalypse, but it was Bo DeMayo writing his fan fiction. Also, I do not care, even though I said it feels like Morph's gay in that, and he has the hots for maybe Wolverine or something, I did not care for them to kind of play up to that storyline, really. I mean, I really didn't. Wolverine's one of my favorite characters. But I didn't want them playing up to that freaking storyline. The Wolverine going after Jean thing is cool, even though that's another man's woman, but yeah. But, I don't know, I just didn't care for the freaking, Morph stuff. With them being gay for Wolverine and that. And I'm pretty sure they're going to continue that storyline because, when the original show was getting ready to come out, this is why people were saying it was woke. Is because of the fact that, they're like, one of the synopsis said, oh, well, apparently the other X-Men are wondering about Wolverine's relationship with Morph and blah, 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 I don't know, maybe it was a fake article or whatever, but yeah. A lot of people were taking that and using that as proof that it was that Wolverine was gonna be gay with Morph and all that stuff. Especially when they said, well, Morph's gonna be non-binary. I mean, yeah. So yeah, Morph being in love with Wolverine, it just, yeah. I didn't care too much for it. Morph was gay with someone else, that'd be fine. But not Wolverine. But I don't know. They just freaking, I just didn't like that. And so, hey, if you've seen the leak trailer from Toy Fair, I think it was, yeah. You've seen that freaking Morph's tagging along with Wolverine, Sabretooth, and freaking Lady Deathstrike in one of the episodes in season 2. But I don't know. But I don't know. I just feel like they just do away with that storyline. They're just good friends. They're like brothers. Just do that. But you also could say that maybe Morph did the freaking thing with Jean, and I even said it in my freaking review originally. Maybe he did it to make Wolverine think it was Jean to say it. Because, if you have the ability to do something to help a friend out like that, you probably do it. Especially if they're a close friend. Just like a brother to you or something. But Morph had the ability to pretend like he was Jean to tell him he loved her. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Because they really played it up in episode 3. And they really didn't do much with it till after, when's the next time they did it? At the end of that episode. Episode 10. But yeah, I think they really ruined. Now, yes, did they build up other characters that kind of got, jobbed out in the past and made them relevant again, like, Storm being cool again, Cyclops being cool again. There's a lot of Cyclops. I'm not a big Cyclops fan. I do like Cyclops, but I'm not a big Cyclops fan. That's the thing, too. So many people hated Cyclops in the X-Men movies because they're like, oh, well, he's just in the way of Wolverine getting with Jean. I'm like, dude, Cyclops is doing what any guy would do when a guy's trying to take their woman. He's going to fight him. You're telling me you wouldn't fight for your wife, especially if you loved her. If she was the love of your life, you wouldn't fight for her. You'd let frickin' somebody like Wolverine come in and take your woman. Come on now. So yeah, making Cyclops cool again. Also, I did not care for Roberto at all. I mean, he just pretty much to me was just there to be Jubilee's boyfriend. That's all frickin' Sunspot Roberto was to me. He was just there to be frickin' Jubilee's boyfriend. I know people say, well, that's another reason it's gotta be woke because, Roberto, he's a metaphor for coming out of the closet of being gay. Like, shut the hell up. Jesus Christ. Fucking morons out there. And then especially when everybody made the big deal about Rogue's butt. I'm like, dude. And like I said, I just rewatched the episode yesterday. Her butt looks about the same as it did in the freaking original cartoon. It's like, her butt looked about the same as it did in the original cartoon. And in episode, 10? You see a lot of her butt looks like it did in that freaking episode where Apocalypse knocked her down. Which was Come of Apocalypse? I don't know. Why the heck? But you also gotta think it too. It's different times. But yeah, Rogue, I mean, she still had the big boobs that she had in the original cartoon. Her butt didn't look that small. It didn't look totally flat. It looked about the same as it did in the original cartoon, but only those morons out there that wanted to frickin' cry woke every time something comes out new with Disney, Marvel, frickin' anything. It's all about woke these days. I remember when Halloween 2018 came out. It was like, oh, that movie woke. Like, what? Yeah, I don't like that movie, but this is not woke. It stuck to the formula that a normal horror movie stuck to. And not only that, in that whole new trilogy, it seemed like Michael Myers wasn't even interested in taking down frickin' Laurie Strode. Jamie Lee Curtis was pretty much wasted in that role. Would have made more sense to end her arc with H2O, but now they want to erase everything after the first one. Because a lot of people didn't like the other ones. And I think Laurie Strode is way better in H2O than she was in frickin' any of this new frickin' trilogy that came out a few years ago. Same day with frickin' Mortal Kombat. Oh, it's woke because Jade's bald. I'm honestly shocked that no one cried woke because Liu Kang died and Katana's the one to beat Shao Kahn. I'm honestly shocked no one cried that. I mean, seriously. Honestly. I am honestly shocked no one cried that for that movie. But anyway. Yeah, another thing I didn't like about X-Men 97 Season 1 is that they didn't take time to build a whole story, especially when the main villain doesn't get revealed till episode 7. And that's halfway through the frickin' episode. It's like, dude, and, also I didn't like the dynamic between Cable and Bastion the way it is with Apocalypse and Cable. So I'm glad that they decided to do an Apocalypse season for this one because, honestly, I don't know, it was just kind of cringe hearing Cable try to feel the way about Bastion that he felt about Apocalypse. I mean, because if you see in the old cartoon with Apocalypse, Cable had passion when he hated Apocalypse. His passion was passionate about his hate for Apocalypse. Bastion was like, oh, he took over. I tried to stop him from killing my mom. The only reason why I want to kill him is because he killed my mom, who was a clone of Jean Grey. But you almost let Jean Grey die, so your mom wouldn't have been made into a clone had you not had you saved her, had you let her die, which it looked like that was what he was going to do. Maybe he went back in time by that point. I could have swore that episode that he frickin' saved Jean Grey. I thought I could have swore that, originally they had him save Jean Grey instead of frickin', Rogue saved her, but I don't know. Rogue saved her. Okay, well, like, if you let Jean Grey die, you're gonna let your freaking mom not be made, and then you're not gonna be born. So yeah, you would have wiped out your own freaking, which I talked about in the cable video last week. But you would have wiped out your own freaking. You would have wiped out your own freaking self. But yeah, is what it is anyway. But yeah, I really like the storytelling. They didn't take time to build up some of the stories like they did in the old show. Especially when you watch the shows back to back, side by side. It's like you see how they built up certain things. The Sentinels was in the first episode. And then they kept building and building and building until Days of Future Past. Then you did the episode where it's like Magneto. When he came in, they built and built and built and built. To Magneto trying to kill Senator Kelly at the end of season 1, had the Sentinels not saved him. Another thing I didn't like is, Bo DeMayo trying to force feed us. Look, as fans, we all feel Magneto might have been right, but we don't need it said to us in the show. We could come to that conclusion ourselves. We don't need you telling us, saying, oh yeah, Magneto was right. Because some of us do feel like Magneto was right. In some ways he is, but in some ways Xavier's kind of right too. But, Magneto, you lean more toward who, is more realistic with their freaking dream. And you realize Magneto is right. But you didn't have to tell us every freaking chance you had to. Magneto was right. Like when they had Val Cooper talk about Magneto was right. When they had Cyclops. Now, you could probably contribute it to, them starting to agree with what Magneto was saying. But he was pretty much just trying to state, because I guess he's on the side of Magneto, which that's fine and dandy. But, yeah. You didn't have to tell us that. We kind of felt that way anyway. Like, yeah, Magneto is right. But then Xavier has a point, too. Now, I use an example. Back in the 80s and 90s, black guys and white girls, people didn't like that. And they had a grudge against that. These days, it's people kind of agree with it and kind of are okay with it. Some people are, not everybody. But, some people are. So, people can change their minds over time. Like, I just want to use that example because, that's a real life thing and I've seen it. I've seen friends who had I've seen, all that stuff. And I've been around people that say, oh, blacks and whites shouldn't mix, blah, blah, blah. That's common. Like being friends with black people. Like if you're friends with a black person, yeah. You didn't have to freaking put it in our face. Oh, Magneto's right. Let us come to that conclusion ourselves. Which a lot of us do, because we do agree with Magneto. But like I said, Xavier has a point too. Because before the freaking whole thing was revealed about Xavier being alive, the humans were still kind of sympathetic to, the mutants and that. But the thing was, it seemed like Senator Kelly was kind of going back to his old, President Kelly, he was going back to his old self in season 1. And now Graydon Creed Jr., who's going to be running for president in season 2, apparently. So, yeah. And then the whole thing with Rogue, like I said, the arc she had in the original cartoon, you didn't have to redo that. It's kind of like if they went back and they did more seasons of X-Men Evolution. And they're like, oh, well, Rogue, she had this arc throughout the show, and she was the most developed character in X-Men Evolution, but she was. Which is also why it's like, well, wait a minute. Well, I don't know. She was the most developed character in X-Men Evolution. It'd be like if they went and undid it and messed it up in that frickin' show. Or Wolverine and Wolverine the X-Men learning that he does have to stick around because he is the leader now. And he started realizing that toward the end of the first season of Wolverine and the X-Men. Well, I gotta stick around more because I'm the leader. I can't be doing what I used to do when Cyclops was leader. So, yeah. I mean, that'd be like them going and undoing that freaking arc. I don't know. I don't know. Which I think they would have built more of into the freaking season 2 if they would have got a season 2 of that. But anyway. So yeah, we got some more images. We got an image of Imsa Minor, Apocalypse from the Egypt time. And, you know, pretty much some of the other same, you know, images we got, just different styles. So, yeah, but no freaking news about the freaking show and when it's coming back on. But yet, they tell us that stupid Vision Quest show is going to be on October 14th. Also, they delayed that Ahsoka show to early next year. I know a lot of people's upset about that because people are, you know, say it'll be 4 years since. And I'm thinking, well, you know, maybe they didn't show it because maybe they wait till after the stupid Punisher frickin' thing's done. That happened last night, and, yeah, we still ain't heard nothing about X-Men 97. Yeah, we can only be patient for so frickin' long. That's why I say, knowing these pricks at Disney, they'll probably make us wait till like a week or two before the frickin' show airs on TV, and then they'll give us the trailer. Like, oh, hey, here you go, X-Men 97, Season 2. I don't know. It feels like they're treating it the same way they did that freaking What If show. Like, Season 2 didn't get much hype until, like, right about the time, it was a couple weeks before the show freaking came on. Or maybe just a week. Which affected the viewership. But, anyway. So, yeah. My review of X-Men 97 Season 1, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think last time I gave it like a 5 out of... Yeah, I think I gave it 5 out of 5, even though I had some flaws with it. Talked about other flaws I had with it. Like, you know... Especially to not take the time to build some of these stories up. I mean, yeah. Something else, too. I feel like they... Kinda... Yeah, they didn't explain too much and they expected you to know everything. Like, if no one's ever watched X-Men the Animated Series, and then they turn on X-Men 97, they're not going to know what's going on. Yeah, they explain some things. They explain how Gyrich killed Xavier, which he did look back to the regular Gyrich we were used to in the original run of the cartoon. But that episode, that final episode of that final season, he didn't look like Gyrich. But... yeah, and then they took forever to reveal the main villain. Which, I mean, if you look in the original cartoon, the main villains was already established. You had the Sentinels, the creators of the Sentinels, Trask and frickin' Gyrich. Then you had Magneto and Sabretooth and them built up as villains. Now, yeah, with Juggernaut, they didn't explain nothing about Juggernaut until later on in the show. But... yeah, I mean, and with Mystique, they didn't explain too much with her. And why is she working with Apocalypse? But, you know, so yeah, but then again, Mystique and them weren't really main villains of the original show. Mystique's only in a handful of episodes anyway. I think she's in the episode where they try to assassinate Kelly, and then you don't see her again until Beyond Good and Evil. Or, no, you see her in A Rogue's Tale. Which, like I said, they waited till later in the show to explain who Mystique was. And then you see her again in the frickin' episode where Nightcrawler finds out she's his mom, which is in season 4. And then you see her again in Beyond Good and Evil. So, yeah. But they don't explain. But like I said, she wasn't really a main villain. The main villains on that show was Apocalypse, Sinister, Magneto... yeah, and all that stuff. Yeah. Talk about some villains we might see in Season 2 of X-Men 97. I think we might see, since he is going to be running for president, I think we're going to see Gyrich, or, you know, not Gyrich, freaking Graydon Creed Jr. freaking come back. As the last episode they had him in was when, Friends of Humanity kicked him out for frickin' being the son of Mystique and Sabretooth. I like the ending of that episode. That episode always makes me laugh because, like, they drop him, the Friends of Humanity take him and throw him down to Sabretooth, and he's like, oh, if it isn't my big bad mutant hating son. Like, oh, you're in trouble now. I'm surprised Sabretooth didn't kill him. But, you know, you could kind of think he did with the fact that, you know, we don't see Graydon Creed Jr. no more after that episode. But, yeah. My son, the big bad mutant killer, huh? Ah, man, that was one of the best Sabretooth moments on that freaking show. Was when he does. I also like how he freaking tricks Jubilee, and he's like, yo. And when he taunts Wolverine at the first when Xavier tries to get, you know, Wolverine to be involved with helping, you know, convert Sabretooth to Xavier's way of thinking, even though he's working for Magneto. But yeah, he's just talking smack about talking smack to Wolverine. So yeah. But I think we're going to see Graydon Creed Jr. in this season. I think he was also probably working with Bastion with the freaking whole OZT thing. Cause you know, he sounds like he'd be a high-ranking member of that. I think we're going to see possibly Strife. I believe we're going to see Omega Red. There's no way we're not going to see Omega Red. We've seen him in the freaking episode. We've seen him in 2 episodes. So I think we're going to see Omega Red. Silver Samurai, I think, is going to be a part of season 2 as well. Hopefully, you know, they've already shown Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike going to be back, which we haven't seen Lady Deathstrike till the freaking. We haven't seen her since the Out of the Past episodes. Yeah, she's been in other animation like that freaking Wolverine versus Hulk movie. Which, oddly enough, I cannot find on Disney or any other streaming thing here. So I don't know where that is. But I actually like that one. Now, the one after that, the Hulk versus Thor, I didn't like. I didn't care for that one. But I did like the Hulk versus Wolverine, and it followed up from the Wolverine and the well, it was kind of the prequel to what happened in the Wolverine and the X-Men show. I think there might be a good chance we get Sinister back in the frickin' season 2. Maybe Apocalypse, because they never showed that Sinister worked for Apocalypse at all. Even in the frickin' origin episode about Mr. Sinister, they didn't show he was working for Apocalypse. The only time he was aligned with Apocalypse was in Beyond Good and Evil. That's because Apocalypse promised him something. Which is kind of why he was working with Bastion. But yeah, it made no sense to me why Sinister was working for Bastion. But Sinister has his own agenda. He's not worried about, you know, trying to wipe out mutant kind to help Nimrod take out mutant kind. I also felt, why the heck did he just randomly tells Val Cooper, I'm using Bastion. Yeah, and then he told her about his dream. I'm like, well, I don't think she asked you about that, but okay. That's another thing I didn't like. Some of the random things they put in the freaking episodes, too, like freaking Bastion. We never did find out why Bastion was freaking shaving Magneto and why he even kept Magneto alive. I guess to fulfill his plan of, you know, getting the government behind him to attack the mutants, because he can say, well, Magneto went on a rampage and blacked out the whole world because of what happened on Genosha. I don't know. And I hope we're still gonna get that freaking tease for Onslaught. I want to see Onslaught in season 3 of X-Men '97. Now, from what I've seen, people that keep up on this freaking Bo DeMayo guy, I don't keep up on him because apparently he's a freaking creep and a weirdo anyway. Yeah, people that kept up on him talked about how, you know, he said that, yeah, they took his tease out for Onslaught in X-Men '97 season 2. So I don't know, we'll see. And, you know, honestly, I hope they do put it on Disney Plus first, then they show it on one of their TV channels. I think that's what they should do with all their Disney Plus shows, like the Star Wars shows, the frickin' Marvel shows, and all that stuff. You know, put them on Disney Plus, and then have them re-shown on, like, you know, a channel like FX or Fox or frickin' ABC or Freeform or frickin' Disney XD or something like that. You know, I don't like the fact that we have to watch it on. I think that's why the Nielsen ratings were so not so great for X-Men 97 in season 1. Although a lot of people loved it. But, you know, I'll say, yeah, I think if they did that, it would put X-Men 97 in the Nielsen thing. But I don't know. I also feel like, you know, I don't know. But what other villains might we see? I think we might see like some villains like Sugar Man and all that stuff. Maybe Colossus. I hope we get Colossus back at season 2 of X-Men 97. I think we might see Colossus's brother. We could see, you know, we could see Cyclops finally find out that frickin' Havoc's his brother, because they never really answered that if he found out or not. I'd like to see Iceman come back, but I doubt they're going to bring Iceman back. He was only in one episode, and then that was it for Iceman. Yeah, maybe some other villains we haven't seen. Maybe villains we haven't seen before. No more Mojo episodes. Fuck Mojo. I do not want to see no more Mojo episodes. Keep Mojo off the TV, but I'm pretty sure they'll somehow fit a Mojo episode into one of these frickin' episodes in season frickin' 2. They did it in the original in season 1. They're gonna do it in season 2, and in the original show they had the frickin' 2 Mojo episodes for that, and they did it in Wolverine and the X-Men. But God, I don't care for Mojo. Especially the guy who's playing him now as the voice actor. He just, I don't know. I like the guy that played him as the voice actor in the original show, but I don't like the new voice actor for him. I don't know. I hope we see Juggernaut too. We haven't seen Juggernaut since that freaking episode where they saved his life. I don't know. Hopefully we see more characters we want to see in season 2 and not just a bunch of cameos. I mean, look, I love the Spider-Man cameo. The 2 Spider-Man cameos in the freaking final 3 episodes. But I could care less about seeing Captain America and freaking Iron Man and all that crap in X-Men. You know, or Daredevil. We did see Cloak and Dagger too. Hey, put Spider-Man. I don't care if you put Spider-Man in it. I don't care to see these other characters, but Spider-Man is awesome to see. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we see the Nasty Boys back. Hopefully we see the other Brotherhood members like Blob and Avalanche and Pyro back and all that stuff. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But like I said, right now, I think I gave it 5 out of 5 a couple years ago. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 because of some of the issues I seen with it when I rewatched it yesterday. Or, no, it wasn't yesterday. I think it was Monday. Yeah, Monday. After I did my video. Also, I put out a poll. Who's your favorite X-Men time traveler? Cable or Bishop? So, you guys can go vote on that if you want. But, yeah. Next week, doing 2 live streams. I'm going to do not just the Fox and 64 block. I'm going to talk about all the cartoon blocks that came out in the 80s and 90s. And then I'll be doing my wrestling video as well on Friday next week. But this Friday, GTA Vice City playthrough, and I don't have to talk about the trailer. But maybe I can make fun of some of these morons that got so excited about this Game Informer news that, got so excited about it and realized they were really just getting themselves into a frenzy for nothing. But yeah. Anyway, I do it. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. Follow my Facebook fan page, Mr. Hungry 83 Show. Follow my Facebook business page, Charging Toys. Also, check out my freaking video I did Monday talking about Bishop. And check this one out as well. But I'll see you guys later, and now you can give me some more fries, dickhead.